Now available. Paperback and Kindle Unlimited. ISIS, the main event. It's carnage inside of a steel cage when the goddess next door steps in the squared circle with the beast from the boss in this action-packed all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, the main event, paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Last week, actress Trina McGee of the 1990 sitcom Boy Meets World made an allegation that she experienced racism on the set of that classic 1990 sitcom. And she stated on Twitter that she had been called Aunt Jemima on set while she was getting her hair and makeup done, called a bitter bee, and had been told it was nice of you to join us like a stranger after 60 episodes of the show had already aired and she came on as a regular. Now, when I listened to Trina McGee's allegations, they have that ring of truth, because when I listen to Trina McGee's allegations of racism on the set, they fit right in line with the pattern that I saw with Afton Williamson, who was on ABC's The Rookie last year and was forced to quit that show as a result of the racism and sexual harassment she experienced on that show. So when I listen to Trina McGee, she sounds like Afton Williamson today, and what's really sad is that Trina McGee had to experience and encounter this on the set of this show. But I know that there's a lot of racism that goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood, and oftentimes black actresses like your Trina McGee have to remain silent about those experiences, because oftentimes the opportunities to get work on a television show like A Boy Meets World are extremely rare. I mean, they do not write black characters for shows like Boy Meets World, and this character that she was playing came in after 60 episodes of the show came on. So Trina McGee, who was 25 years old at the time and had 2 children, this was the opportunity of a lifetime for her, because when it comes down to Hollywood, they don't usually write shows for black actresses, nor do they write roles for black actresses. So she was trying to do her best to make this gig work in spite of all of the racism she encountered on the set of this show, because she knew that this was a very rare opportunity to be a regular on a popular sitcom and to get a paying gig on the regular. Because again, Hollywood does not usually write roles for black actresses, and for her to get a regular role on this show, this was something that she really wanted to try to keep and try to hold on to, and that's why I believe your Trina McGee remained silent for so long, because she knew that the opportunities would not come up again, and she had to deal with a lot of tension and disrespect from her castmates. That's what she's alleging, but I believe everything she's saying to be true, because when it comes down to these network TV shows, there's a lot of racism that goes on behind the scenes, a lot of racism that goes on in the inception of these shows, and their main focus is on promoting the idea of white people being the ideal, and they don't like the idea of bringing in anybody who is black onto the show, because that makes a lot of those people working on those shows very uncomfortable. So that's something that I believe would be strongly in that she's right about that because when you have somebody telling you that it's nice of you to join us like a stranger after 60 episodes, that shows a bit of resentment towards her being put on the show. And I believe that the producers probably put her on the show because people were complaining about Boy Meets World being an all-white show, having no real diversity, and having no real other black characters on the show regularly. So people were looking at this show and saying, why is this show so white? And then they decided to bring Trina McGee Davis into the show, and that's what led to her getting that resentment from the cast and crew and people on the set who had their smooth world where they had the show a certain way, but then they decided they were upset about that. But the whole thing is, they just did not want that black woman on the show. They wanted to keep going on with their all-white show and have their smooth world with no African Americans on the show. So I see what's going on that Boy Meets World set, and it's, again, par for the course when it comes down to Hollywood. And Hollywood does not want to talk about the racism that goes on the sets of many of these shows, but many black actors and black actresses have similar stories to Trina McGee Davis, and they probably stay quiet about those stories because they want to keep working. Because if you come out about an experience like Afton Williamson did, you risk losing your career, you risk losing your reputation, and you risk losing an opportunity at getting and booking other jobs. So oftentimes, actresses will remain silent about these encounters that go on because they want to keep working. And this is something I talked about in my screenplay All About Marilyn, because I was writing about 1990s sitcoms, and I was writing about the racism that goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood, because, again, they don't really see black people as people in Hollywood. They oftentimes see us as objects, or they see us as somebody they can use to try to build another audience on. And I believe they wanted to bring Trina McGee on to Boy Meets World in an effort to shore up the eroding ratings as related to the black audience, because TGIF before that had a heavy black slant. I mean, you had Family Matters, Mr. Cooper, and Sister Sister. So you had 3 out of the 4 shows at one time that were black shows, and that was leading to a lot of the strong ratings for TGIF. And then Boy Meets World comes on, and step by step, and we started to see sort of a little bit of a decline in the ratings, and then they decide to bring Trina's characters on to try to probably help fix this show's issue as related to race. But then we start to see this racism going on the set of this show. But as I see it, the racism that went on the set of Boy Meets World was par for the course, because in Hollywood, it's a hostile environment towards black actors, it's a hostile environment towards black actresses, and oftentimes nobody writes material for black actors and black actresses, and in some cases they don't like having black actors and black actresses on the sets of these shows because they have their smooth world, they want to be comfortable, and they don't like the idea of seeing a black actor on the show because they want to be able to keep their world the way they want it. And that's what shows how racist the set of Boy Meets World probably was, because this culture could not have gone on without executive producers bringing it on there. And again, I believe that they brought her on there because they saw that their ratings were slipping, they saw that they had a so-called diversity issue, and they wanted to bring in a black character so that they would not have to deal with any sort of allegations of the show being too white. So that's what led to all of these resentment on the set and these statements being made, because a lot of people were probably resenting the idea of having this black actress on the show and having her disrupt what they call their flow of the show. So that's what they were probably upset about. But when I listened to Trina Davis's allegations, again, they have that ring of truth, and they are what par for the course from what I've heard from numerous other things about Hollywood and how it depicts black actors and how it treats black actors on the sets of these shows. Now, on these shows, oftentimes there's a hostile environment for black actors and black actresses, and a lot of black actors and black actresses, they have to keep their mouths shut in order to keep working, because if they go out here and say something, they will not be getting booked for other gigs, and they will not be able to go out here and find other opportunities at getting work. So oftentimes, a lot of black actors and black actresses, they will stay quiet about the racism they encounter on the set, and they will do that because they believe it's the only way they can continue to get booked by agents on jobs and the only way they can continue to keep working. But it's just not right that Trina McGee had to experience this on the set of Boy Meets World. I mean, many of your people in Hollywood say that they are some of the most tolerant people, but the great irony is we see that they're actually just as racist as these white supremacists out here, and they express the same racism that these white supremacists in these southern states participate in, but these ones who are in states like California, they don't want to come out and admit their own racism. And that's one of the most troubling things, is that they come out here promoting all of this tolerance and acceptance, but then passive aggressively they express contempt towards black people and contempt towards black actors who are just looking to go out here and get an equal opportunity at work and get an equal opportunity to be on a show like a Boy Meets World. And when these opportunities, again, are extremely rare for black actresses like Trina McGee, because they do not write roles for people like Trina McGee. I mean, black women, they get the least amount of roles out here. Nobody really writes for black actresses, and to get an opportunity like this, it's very rare. So when I listen to Trina McGee, I know that she's telling the truth, just like Afton Williamson told the truth. And they're trying to tell you that Hollywood isn't this place of tolerance and acceptance. It's really a hostile environment that thinks very little of black people and has little regard or value for black people in their media or working on their media. If you'd like to learn more about the struggles of black actresses in Hollywood, you can pick up my screenplay All About Marilyn on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle formats. And if you want to learn more about black sitcoms, you can pick up my book All About Nikki on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle formats. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct publications like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the Spinsterella trilogy, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. And if you want to donate and see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.